Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Quip and Combo segment of the Quip Corner with Ada. This is, well, one where we're going to be talking from my latest book. Okay, it's not working because it's white. I'll put a picture right after this. My guest is someone who I met through one of her books. I'll also put a picture of her book within this video. Well, and of course, you'll see her bio. So please join us in the Quip Corner. Welcome to the Quip and Convo segment of the Quip Corner with Ada Gill.
Thank you, Ada. Nice to speak to you.
Yes, I'm so grateful that you accepted my invitation. I was reading your book, Emotional Intelligence, and I was like, what? I'd love to talk to her some more. So
well, that's nice that you found me and that you invited me.
You're sure welcome. So via our emails, we had agreed that you will talk about a quip from my latest book. And the quip is quip 10, which says, your life experiences equip you to be empathetic and emotionally intelligent. Do not discount them. Please tell us more, your thoughts?
Well, okay, so I think it's important to start with defining what empathy is and what emotional intelligence is. That's something that as a writer and a teacher, I'm always very keen to define words and concepts, because we often have different ideas about what a particular word or a concept means, and it's very rare that somebody's got completely the wrong end of the stick and doesn't understand what a particular word means. But we all have sort of variations on our understanding of words. So both empathy and emotion, particularly emotional intelligence, are concepts, and by that I mean a concept is a collection of ideas about something. So let's start with empathy. Empathy it's different from sympathy. Sympathy is sort of feeling sad and a feeling of pity, not patronizing, but feeling sad and pitying and feeling sorry for somebody else.
Yeah.
Empathy is different. Empathy is recognizing the feeling or emotion that someone else is experiencing. You don't have to actually have had the same experiences as them, but we've all pretty much, by the time we're adults, I would say, we've all experienced a very wide range of emotions. So the best way to describe that would be maybe about that you don't have to have had the same experience. You might be with somebody who's very anxious about flying in an aeroplane. Yeah. And you actually be completely the opposite. You might really enjoy going on an aeroplane, or you might just feel, oh, I don't feel strongly one way or another. It's not, it's just a thing. It's just something I get on and I go from A to B. But what you can identify with is the feeling of anxiety. Yeah. So that's what empathy is. It's recognizing and identifying the emotion, not the experience. So you don't have to have necessarily had a close friend or a parent die, but you have had a big loss in your life, and you've experienced devastation or bereavement. It could have been a pet. So if a friend's parent dies, you don't say, oh, I know exactly how you feel, my dog died. You wouldn't say that, but you would recognize what it feels like to be blindsided by that and feeling such a huge amount of loss. So that's what empathy is. It's recognizing and identifying the emotion, not the experience. However, when it comes to our life experiences equip us to have empathy, it's the emotions that we experienced in those life experiences.
Yeah.
So again, for example, a very simple life experience that probably most people listening and watching us today have had is that they've taken their driving test.
Yeah.
Most of us, again, would have been anxious, trepidatious, maybe feeling like, I might even just cancel it. I can't face it. So yeah, that's probably more of an experience, a situation where we both experienced the experience and the emotion. But what's really important with empathizing is not to feel that you can't empathize because you haven't had the same experience, or that you can empathize because you've had a similar experience. You've had the emotion. That's what's important. So that's what you're looking at. So there's such a huge range of emotions. Anxiety is something that we've all experienced. Jealousy, envy, things that, so we might have a friend that's really envious of someone else, that they've got a lovely big house and a big shiny car, and we might think, well, that's not my thing at all. I don't understand what's the matter with her. Why on earth would she be envious of that? But we've had envy about something, or we've been jealous, and actually it's important to point out here that there's a difference between envy and jealousy.
Jealousy, yes, there is.
Envy is when you want something someone else has got, and jealousy is when you think you hold on to something because you think someone's going to take it away from you.
Yeah.
And so if you wrote a list of it's an interesting exercise maybe to do, is just write down or Google a list of emotions and just think to yourself the times that you've experienced those. So that would then lead me on to talking about emotions and emotional intelligence. So again, it's important that we each understand what emotional intelligence is. So emotional intelligence is being able to understand and manage your emotions, not control them, not, it's not a fixed thing, but it's being able to understand them and to manage them, your own emotions and the emotions of other people. So it's quite a dynamic, because we all know sometimes in some situations we are trying to understand our own emotions and manage them at the same time as trying to understand what's going on for someone else. So so that's why I think learning more about emotional intelligence when you're calm, it's no use someone explaining to you what anger is when you're really angry, because the last thing you want to do is listen to them. Can you imagine being really cross about something and someone saying, Ada, let me stop you there and explain what it is you're going through? You'd be so learning more about emotional intelligence, I think is something that's really important, and I'll come to how our life experiences can inform our emotional intelligence, and how we've already all got emotional intelligence, because we definitely have to an extent to understand, and we can manage our emotions, but we could probably, a lot of us could do with understanding and managing emotions better, both our own and other people's. So the really important thing I always think is worth knowing is that when we refer to positive emotions and negative emotions, so we think of positive emotions as happiness and joy and excitement, and negative emotions as such things as we've already expressed, these: anxiety, jealousy, envy, guilt, regret. We tend to see these as negative emotions, but actually it's not the emotion that's negative, it's how we feel about it. about feeling regret or guilt. And actually, what's very surprising for a lot of people to know is that all emotions have a positive purpose. So they're there to actually motivate us to respond in a positive way. I'll give some examples, because it's like, how can being anxious, for example, be positive?
It's interesting. I'm glad you're going to do that, because some people will truly be wondering. And, when I got to that part in your book, I was like, huh? Oh. So please,
right.
tell us
Yeah.
more.
Okay. So we all know that the reason that, for example, if there's flames or a hot ring on the cooker, on the top of the cooker, that if we put our hand on it, we feel pain. So we put our hand on it and we're like that.
Yeah.
It's not nice to feel that pain, but there's a positive intent, because obviously if we just left our hand in the flames, the damage that would be done to us is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So emotions are similar, that they're there, they have a positive purpose, even though they don't feel very nice to experience very often. So fear is there to protect us. If we're frightened of something, so for example, if you go to the edge of a cliff or a building and you're frightened, good, because it stops you from going any further. It's meant to be like that. If you're anxious about something, the positive purpose about anxiety is, well, first of all, let's understand what anxiety actually is. Anxiety is a concern about something that might or could or will happen in the future.
Yeah.
So if I'm anxious about taking an exam, so let's say I've got an exam next week, let's say I'm someone that's at university and I've got some exams next week, the anxiety is there to prompt me to do something to minimize the possibility that something will happen. So if I'm anxious about the exam, I'm anxious that I'll take the exam and I'll fail.
Yeah.
Okay, so the prompt from feeling anxious is, yeah, you might fail, so you better do some revision, haven't you? You better prepare for it. So it's actually, anxiety is there to prompt you to prepare for the worst case scenario. So if we take driving, if I was anxious about doing a journey on my own to somewhere, a long journey, driving on my own to somewhere that I hadn't been before, I might think, oh, well, I'm worried, what if I break down? What if I lose my way? What if I get caught up in so much traffic and then I realize I haven't got any snacks with, I'm hungry. So good to be anxious. So therefore, make sure you join an organization that can come and rescue you if you break down. Make sure, obviously, you've got your sat nav, but also that your phone is charged, that you've got maybe a paper map, old-fashioned map as well, and make sure you take some snacks in your car. So you can see that the anxiety is there to prompt you to do something positive. And let me give you one more example of a emotion that we don't like feeling, but also has a positive purpose. Let's take the emotion of guilt. Guilt's it's known as a social emotion. And what that means is it's an emotion that we feel and we experience in order to create good relations with others. So if I do something to you, or let's just say I came to visit you and I knocked over a bottle of red wine on your cream carpet, I'd feel really bad about that. I'd be going, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't believe that's happened, what can I do? I just feel awful about it. I feel guilty. So guilt is a feeling that you've done something wrong. Well, it might have been my mistake. I might have knocked it without realizing, but I still feel I've done something wrong. no matter how you responded, even if you said, oh, it's fine, Jill, don't worry, it's an old rug, it's not a problem, I would still go, yeah, but I still feel really bad. So guilt is an emotion that's put there to prompt you to put right a wrongdoing to someone else. So rather than just wallow in the guilt and go, I feel so bad, it's, yeah, all right, you feel so bad, so what are you going to do about it? So you can see then that again it has a positive purpose. So does regret. If you have done something and then you feel regretful, the positive purpose of regret is to prompt you not to repeat the same mistake. So these emotions don't feel nice, but one of the ways of handling them, and this is what is, this is being emotionally intelligent, is to listen to what the positive intent or the positive purpose of that emotion might be, and then act in a positive way. They're messages to you. Emotions are messages to respond in some way, in a positive way. So unfortunately, when we're not so emotionally intelligent, something like anxiety can utterly overwhelm us.
Yeah.
And we just get caught up in it. And rather than go, okay, stop. What is it I'm anxious about? What's the worst thing that can happen? What can I put in place to minimize the worst thing happening, or actually even make sure the worst thing doesn't happen at all? So let's say, yeah, guilt again, it's too easy to just go, oh, I feel so bad, I feel so bad, and the other person's like, well, stop making this all about you, it's my rug that's been damaged. Regret, you can just find yourself never moving on, because you just get caught up in what you should have done or could have done, rather than, okay, what's the lesson here? I need to move on. So once you start understanding what the positive purposes of all these emotions are, not only can that be of benefit to yourself, but of course, once you start understanding and managing your own emotions, you can understand and better manage other people. So if someone, for example, if it was, I'd spilt the red wine on your cream rug, and you understand that I'm feeling really bad, but it's not a problem. You're saying, really, I was about to throw that rug out. It's not a problem. You would see that my guilt, and you go, do you know what? I'll tell you what, if it makes you feel any better, why don't you just buy me another bottle of red wine next time you come round? And it's so you would look at, you would see that, oh, I understand. Your empathy would see, oh, Jill's feeling really bad about this. It's really not a problem for me. Maybe I can help by suggesting something to help her alleviate her feeling so bad about it.
Wow. Thank you. Just listening to you, something occurred to me, and that's an example in the moment. Your name is spelled Gill.
Yeah, because
it's pronounced Jill.
Because my full name is Gillian.
Okay, so for me, that's a classic example of feeling the emotion of regret, of mispronouncing your name. And then the positive is, next time, Ada, confirm. How should I pronounce your name? So it's interesting how just the examples you're giving, just, shall I say, came to life even in the session.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Ada, that's absolutely perfect. Yeah. So rather than feel, oh, I feel so bad, I mispronounced her name. Oh, it's like, okay, well, what have I learned from that? Yeah, absolutely. That's and I've got 3 grown-up sons, I've got 2 grandchildren, I've worked with children. I really feel that this is something, without lining them up every day and saying, right, what are you feeling and what have you learned from that? Of course it's not going to be like that, but I really feel it's something that you can teach children from a very young age. So get them to be emotionally literate in
Yeah.
you know, so how do you feel, and offering them words. So do you feel upset, or do you feel disappointed, or really upset, or you know,
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
them to build up their vocabulary, and then you know, have talk about emotions, and then say, oh, so you're feeling really disappointed because
Mm-hmm.
this didn't happen.
Yeah.
What, you know, what do you think, what's a good thing that can come out of that?
Of
Maybe you were
this. Yeah.
expecting too much. Yeah, so you can start uh, teaching or encouraging,
Yeah.
I'd like to say, encouraging emotional intelligence from a very young age with children. And so our life experiences, our life experiences help to make us emotionally intelligent. Yes, because we all do already have an understanding of emotions and
Yeah.
how to manage emotions. So in certain situations, we do know that we have to just,
Take a deep
well,
breath.
control them. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
we really do have to control our
Yeah.
emotions,
Yeah.
but managing them isn't just zipping them up. It's actually finding positive ways to deal with our emotions.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Gill.
That's okay, Ada.
I really appreciate, you joining me today in the Quip and Combo segment. And I'd love to invite you back again sometime later.
I'd enjoy that. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks again. And, do keep in touch and have a great summer.
Thank you, and you. Bye, Ada.
Bye now. Thank you so much for joining us in the Quip Corner. Well, the Quip and Combo segment. I like the way Jill, not Gil, Jill broke it down on how even negative emotions have a purpose. I'm looking forward to the next time we have her in the Quip and Combo segment. Feel free to share this with others and keep spreading the word, and let's continue to be emotionally literate. You take care. Bye now.